Well, I'm here to meet with the Alumni Association of the Online University of Catalonia to talk about the way that Google sees information changing societies around the world and the evolving need for changes in education, which is why I'm here particularly because the local university has done such a wonderful job of online education. And I see some opportunities to extend that in the future in important ways. Well, the power of information that we experience is that we enable other people to have. So when you want to find something, we help you find it. Like, for example, if you look for a web page, we never had the web page. Somebody else made the web page. We help you find it. So the power comes from the people who make the web page to the people who look for it. So we're like a matchmaker to find people and hook them together with the good data. Our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So the organizing part is the part that we do that makes us expand to books or television or videos or text or email. But the useful is it personally useful, that each person is more happy or more successful or more healthy, more comfortable because they know where their children are. Their life is better because we make information available to them. That's our focus. The news media, and especially the printed news media, haven't really been using their opportunity as well as they could have for many years. And every time a new alternative through technology appears, their businesses go down a little bit more. In most media formats, the amount of information is limited. So in newspapers, it's column inches or column centimeters. You only have so long a story. For television news, you only have so many seconds or minutes. But online, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on a website, it could be minutes or it could be hours. And so the information can be much deeper. The other thing that newspapers don't often do is they don't have a continuing story. So if something happens this week, next week, or next month, or next year, it's very hard to learn any more about it. But the story itself does continue. With citizen journalism, user-contributed content, I think a news media that really embraced that would have a much richer service to its readers. And, they're also discovering that people didn't want the entire newspaper. They only wanted the few stories that appealed to them. So as soon as they can get those individually, they don't want to read the whole paper. And that's more about the value of newspapers than about the value of news. Google News indexes online websites of free public news services. Some newspapers have thought that people go to Google News and don't go to the newspaper. Yeah. And so they say, well, you're taking our readers. And so what we do is try to explain to them that they should actually go look at Google News and see how it works. Yeah. Because the only thing at Google News is the first sentence or two of the news story. To actually read the story, you have to click. Yes. And when you click, you go to their newspaper. Yeah. But we're bringing people to your paper that otherwise would never have come there. That usually is a satisfactory answer for most newspapers. And so what Google can do there, by partnership with the newspaper, which we do, is we index the whole paper, but we only show you a little part of the story. And then when you click to go to the paper, Rupert Murdoch puts up a sign that says, you can't see the story until you pay me. And so I think there's an opportunity for them, and I think it's good to see people try new ways of doing it. Our business is so focused to doing what users want that it never occurs to us to try to make them do what we want. And when we meet people who say, I have a business problem because I can't make people do what I want, we usually think, well, why don't you do what they want? Maybe it'll work better for you. You know, that's just, it seems logical to us. The reason Google Earth was created was there were four of us that got together to build it in my dining room as a startup company. And within a few years, we had grown from 4 people with a dream to let everybody travel the world and learn from other cultures, to more than 600 million users who do travel the world every day, every month, every year, and see other cultures. They don't just see the world, they see Mount Everest and the oceans and things like that. They also see by marks, called place marks, on the earth, they see information. So if I fly into Barcelona and I see the Sagrada Familia and I click on the marker, I can learn all about Antonio Gaudi, I can learn about the history of Sagrada Familia, I can learn about the reconstruction that's going on now to preserve things, when it will be finished, which I never, I think, but I can learn all of that online. And so I can learn about that for Barcelona, and for Paris, and for Moscow, and for North Korea even. So it's an opportunity for humans to really understand the one thing they all share, which is their planet. I think it's great. I'm so excited about it. I was excited when it was an idea, and I believe in it as a dream, and I'm so proud that it worked, and I'm so happy when I see people learn more about the world. Technologies that are important will, over the next 10 years or 20 years, will be those that further connect people, that have you always in constant touch with the people you know and care about, that you always have their advice when you make decisions, that you're always informed by the things they've already learned. Those are very important technologies. So you see that play out in not just Google, but in things like Twitter and Facebook, and all these things. They connect you with your friends. The companies and the products aren't so important, but your friends are important. So you have a mobile phone, it's very important, you can call your mother. It's not the phone that's important, you buy a new one every year or two, but your mother is very important, right? So it's people that are important. So communication technologies are extremely important. I also think the way people learn will be totally different in 10 years than the way it is now. I'm going to talk about that, because I think the way society is changing will require that people learn and develop skills in new ways. And then the biggest thing is that everything that happens right now on the internet, that only applies or involves 22% of humans. 78% of people on the planet don't have access to the internet. So whatever happens, there's going to be 4 times more people that never did it before doing it than they are now. Connected, doing things, and things like Google Translate will allow you to talk to those people, even if their language is only used by a few thousand people in some small village in some island. It's easy for us to imagine ways that information can serve people that it doesn't currently serve them, that things that would make your life better that you don't currently know about. It's not so hard to imagine those. It's often very hard to find a way to actually make that happen. If we had all of the medical records of everybody, then we could analyze across millions and millions of people what causes and what treatments and what effects, what the common trends are, and we could discover like combinations of medicines that cause problems, combinations of medicines that solve problems. Okay, we could actually probably add 10 or 20 years to everybody's life on the planet. So we started talking to doctors and said, would this really work? And they said, oh yeah, it would work. We said, well great, we'll get all the medical records and it'll be wonderful. And we talked to people all around the world, and everybody says, no, medical records are top secret, and we would never give it to anybody. No, it's completely personal. We said, well, it describes your person, but not really as you. You should just take all the parts out that are about you and to put them all together for all of Catalonia, all of Spain, all of the EU, all of whatever, and then just take those and let doctors do analysis. And absolutely not. That's the way the world's thinking now. I'm convinced that 50 years from now, people will live 20 years longer, because sometime between now and then, they'll decide which part of your records are personal and which part aren't. And nothing Google can do to change that timing for that. But as soon as it's possible to get the data together, it's immediately possible to save lives. I'm convinced it will happen, and I'm continuously eager to find the way to make it happen. I know people will live longer and live better if we do that. Or if, not we, but I mean if society does that. Whoever does it, doesn't matter, but if it happens. So that means if the people who know how to make it happen don't do anything, there are people that will live 10 or 20 years less than they should have. And that bothers me.